Waterhouse were confident, Tivoli were resilient, Portmore were well drilled, and Arnett kept fighting. All this and more on quarterfinal leg 1 review show. Yeah people, welcome to JPL, welcome back, and it is playoff time. The first leg of the quarterfinals are now in the books and it's all square in both matches. In fact, the two matches mirror themselves, whereas a tale of both halves, but we'll get into it. Let's start of course with Tivoli versus Waterhouse, which were on paper the most intriguing game because Waterhouse is coming into this game undefeated in 5 and on a 4-game winning streak, while Tivoli of course sit higher than them in the table but also got a double over them this year. So how will this one turn out? Well, first up, the newly appointed coach of the year, Jerome Waite, chose for a flip when he announced his starting 11 without Fuller and without Lennox Russell, as well as his star man Justin Dunn not playing in their peculiar role behind Nelson but actually at the right wing. I did find it absolutely odd. I guess he was trying to throw off both me and Marcel Gale off his tracks. While Marcel Gale was without Andre Fletcher in the starting 11 but he did make the bench, but the other good news for them is that Mitchell returned to the lineup. Jefferson made himself available on the right, and otherwise there was basically a full strength team for Waterhouse. So from there the game kicked off and Waterhouse basically came to beat Tivoli at their own game. They were clearly the more confident team as they settled on much faster and they were getting a usual passing groove on the pitch. What was more interesting is that Marcel Gale decided to have Nicola Christian be a bit more closer to Javier Bryan up top, and I thought this worked as a charm. He was causing a lot of trouble to the Tivoli back three when he was much closer to the box, and he didn't shirk his defensive dirty work that he's supposed to do, as I saw him going back numerous times to help out Denara Thomas on the back line. He was by far the man of the match in the first 45 minutes as he was everywhere. But what exactly I mean by Waterhouse beating Tivoli at their own game is that Waterhouse actually were outrunning Tivoli in this one. Every time orange shirt touched the ball by at least 2 to 3 yellow shirts. It was intriguing to see if they could continue this intensity for the entire 90 minutes. But despite all of that, Tivoli did actually carve out the first real opportunity in the game. It came from a set piece as the ball floated from the right side and reached the head of a Tivoli player that saw it crash off the crossbar, and a very early warning Waterhouse that they might have troubles on set pieces tonight. But they did shake off that, went ahead and played some good football. I thought Mitchell had a great game on the left as he often took on his man and got past him to try to set up Javier Bryan or get a shot off on his own. But the Tivoli defense was trying to hold up as much as they can. They got even more outrun when the fullbacks with Dallas and Jaime Brown especially were bombing up both flanks and overlapping to give some extra width to the Waterhouse attack. It was helping immensely, especially Brown on the right wing, as him and Jefferson was looking to overload Thomas in the Tivoli defense. Eventually it worked as the intense running by the men saw Javier Bryan got into the box and saw a tangle of legs with Thomas and saw him tumble down in the penalty box. Referee did not hesitate, a penalty was given, and early chance for Javier Bryan to give his team a much deserved 1-0 lead into the break. And that he did. No mistake from the spot, and it was a 1-0 lead for Waterhouse, and Tivoli was not wondering what to do. It showed the first half, as I stated. Justin Dunn was playing at the right wing, which I saw him not getting much touches inside the penalty box at all. He was doing as much as he can on the right side to at least try to set up Nelson, as well as he would tracking back his men, especially when Dallas overlapping, to try and cover in that defensive end. At one point I saw him all the way back to his own box, covering in the right back position. So yeah, it's interesting tactics for Jerome Waite to have his best striker pulling off all this. Well, of course, you know, if you know the history of Dunn, he did start it as a wing back, so he's not new to the position. It is intriguing that he's with 16 goals under his belt. Jerome Waite came into this match to try with a different variety of positions. Him and Nelson were getting frustrated up top. At one point they even switched positions and saw Justin Dunn playing through the middle, and then it didn't exactly work, and I saw him on the left hand side after that. Again, he got a little bit more purchase over the left wing and got a shot off, but it clearly seemed that, you know, he was frustrated. But credit to him, he was playing for the team and he didn't mind doing all the dirty work on the wings. Nelson had a tough time up top, and while he's always a willing runner, he wasn't getting much purchase out of the Waterhouse centre backs. The first half ended there without Tivoli carving out much chances, and Waterhouse went into the break with a deserved lead. Come the second half now, and it seemed that Jerome Waite gave his team a stern talking to. It's as if they finally realized that this is the playoff, this is the big time, and they came out right off the whistle with such intensity is that it showed that they finally realized that they're in a playoff match. They came right at Waterhouse. They were coming with more purposeful runs. Dunn was getting more chances on the right side to swing in some balls. And more importantly, when he does do it, it seemed that there's more orange shirt that were in the box finally. They were definitely cracking the pressure on Waterhouse at this point, and he could clearly see that the both wing backs on the left and right side of Tivoli were much higher this time than in the first half. That seemed to pin down Dallas and Jaheim Brown, the Waterhouse fullbacks, in their own half. So much so that they were the outlets for Waterhouse in the first half. The entire Waterhouse team was basically camping out in their own half. They saw wave after wave of orange attack coming, and they struggled to get any chance to go up the pitch when they win the ball over. Jaheim Brown himself was basically in his own half to try to hold the ball, and the first half man of the match, Nicola Christian, could not necessarily settle on the ball. As he got it, it was 2 or 3 orange shirt in his back. So much so that Marcel Gale was forced to take off Christian and Wesley Mitchell to try to switch things up. He brought on Andre Fletcher, who was back from injury, to see if he can stretch the field. But it didn't really work as much. It seemed that the goal was coming as wave after wave attacks was still coming. Jerome Waite brought on Lennox Russell in the second half, and he gave them even more running there on the left-hand wing and more pressure on the Waterhouse back line. And eventually his hard work draw a free kick just outside the box on the left-hand side. Now, Waterhouse got a big warning when it comes to set piece in the first half when Tivoli hit the crossbar, so you think they'll be up and ready for this one. When the ball was floated into the box, our in-swinger that saw the ball placed in between that uncomfortable spot between the penalty spot and 6-yard box, there were some miscommunication by the Waterhouse centre-backs and their keeper, and the ball just simply floated past everybody and hit against the woodwork and came back across the goal to find an unmarked Lennox Russell to tap it in. Perhaps his easiest goal he would have in his career, and at this point it was 1-1. I saw the goal was coming. We probably never exactly expected it from a set piece, but it was just deserved for all the hard work they were putting off in the second half. Tivoli was fully in their own element at this point, and anytime a yellow shirt touched the ball, and anytime a yellow shirt touched the ball in their own half, they were easy picking for orange shirt. Waves and waves of more attacks were coming, and at this point Jerome Waite took off Nelson and brought on Wellington to give them some chances up front, and he did get 2 glorious chances to give them the win. One came from a glorious ball from the right that he got in between the centre box and got his header in near the 6-yard box, but steered wide, and another chance when the ball floated in the box and all he had to do was finish and he fluffed his lines. But it was a warning shot for Waterhouse, who were now hanging on for dear life as the more and more orange shirts were coming. Credit to them, eventually towards the end, they found a way past the press as they found an outlet in Andre Fletcher, and he was trying his best to try to get the game to the attacking third. Eventually it led to a free kick chance for them, and it came close, but thanks to a good save by Arnett in goal for Tivoli that stirred the ball over the crossbar, it remained 1-1. And that's where it ended. Despite Tivoli giving it all in the second half and coming close numerous times, they could not find a way past so Waterhouse backline, and it ended 1-1. A very good response by Tivoli in the second half after they were a bit surprised, as we all were, by Waterhouse confident start in the first. So a game of 2 halves really. Waterhouse deserved their lead in the first half, and Tivoli deserved their lead in the second half. In fact, Waterhouse could be lucky that Wellington did not finish one of those chances, as they could have easily be ended 2 or 3-1. But for now, it all squared in leg 1 and it sets up leg 2 perfectly. Anyway, let's look into the stats for what happened exactly. Yeah, so the stats going to reflect a very dominant second half from Tivoli. Yeah, the total shots. Waterhouse had 8 total shots compared to Tivoli's 17. Yes, majority of those 17 came in a dominant second half. Waterhouse also had 3 shots on target compared to 6 from Tivoli. 10 corners from Tivoli, as set piece was the name of the game tonight, and 8 corners for Waterhouse. 2 yellow cards went to Waterhouse only in the game, and no red cards at all. So yeah, once again, it was definitely a tactical battle between Jerome Waite and Marcel Gale. I like Marcel Gale having Christian closer to Javier Bryan to give him some support in the attack, while Jerome Waite, I thought, maybe overthink it a bit in the first half with the old positioning of Justin Dunn and his men, but I have to give him credit. He made the right changes at the right time in the second half, and he got his team to buy in at half time to mount a good comeback. So again, it finishes Waterhouse 1, Tivoli 1. So what about the nightcap? Into the second quarterfinal we go, and that will be Arnett versus Portmore. So Philip Williams, Portmore head coach, had a twist of his arm as well, as Siobhan Walsh, their star striker, sat at the bench and saw Bartlett started up top by himself. Alex Marshall would provide support, but it was surprising that he did not go with Siobhan Walsh here. As for Arnett, no surprises from Gilbert, except Shepard did not start. He went with Kaim Dixon, Fabian Reid, and Arbine in the attacking three, as he was confident these men would get him the goals. And to be honest, I thought they settled a bit faster. They had the ball already on the ground passing in the early beginnings. But from there, Philip Williams and Portmore usual plan A kick into high gear. Portmore, of course, now went into the usual mid-block shape and was already blocking up passing lanes for Arnett, that saw they have to rely on Willis in centre-back to try switch players up to the left-hand wing to Arbine. Even that wasn't helping as much, as he was constantly be picked off with the ball in the air, and anything on the ground was being a turnover. It was causing clear frustration for the Arnett team, and eventually it led to Portmore, as soon as they turned over, to look long and direct for Barnett up front. Again, I thought Siobhan Walsh would be better suited for this role, but I must give credit to Barnett. He was a fighter entire game, and each time he hit the ball in the air or on the ground, he fought his life out. He was a thorn in the side of the Arnett centre-backs, and eventually all his hustle and tussle up front led to some good knockdowns for Alex Marshall to pick up the second ball, and from there his creativity shined through. Alex Marshall was basically unplayable in that first half, as every time he touches the ball in the attacking third, he was creating chances. One of them even led to an amazing strike from the top of the D that he cracked off of the crossbar and saw the ball went out to safety. A first warning shot from Portmore that they are here to come play. Again, Arnett was trying to get something going in the opposite direction. Kaim Dixon himself seemed to was trying the hardest, and he seemed that the only one was trying to make something work when he tried his best to create something from the right side. Eventually, it led to a slip-up in Portmore defense, and he got his golden opportunity to give Arnett a 1-0 lead, but after a good shot from the right, it actually went straight to Tyrone Williams, who thanks to good reflexes was able to keep the young starlet out. Karim would probably ruin that miss, because it was one of the few chances Arnett was managed to muster in the first half. Portmore stuck to the game plan, of course. They were still bombing balls up front for Barnett to give trouble, and eventually one of them landed at the feet to Alex Marshall, who did his work on the left wing before he plays a good ball into the box to find Barnett, who tried his best to place it in the opposite corner but found upright. Lucky for him and Portmore, it came out at the angle towards the mouth of the goal, as Campering back Philander wing was coming back to come try to help. Actually, he accidentally hit the ball into his own goal. And 1-0 lead for Portmore, and Philip Williams probably looking like a genius at this point. He must be very happy with his men. His young team execute the plan to perfection, and he's now giving them the deserved lead that they needed. At this point, Arnett was clearly frustrated that there were no rush in the play, and again it caused them to now turn over the ball much more often. Portmore will get another crack at it again, Barnett once more, but once again they hit the frame of the goal, and Arnett escaped, going in the second half 1-0 down. So some work for Gilbert to do, but Philip Williams must be pleased that plan A is working. Now on to the second half. Arnett was now coming to try and get back into the game. There was no major changes happening at the halftime break. There was no more intensity and more swiftness in their passing, as they were trying to get back into the game quickly. Their plight was aiding a lot when Barnett, who I thought was having a great game despite his poor finishing, seemed to pull up in the center circle and saw him have to come off in the 55th minute. He now brought on the star striker Siobhan Walsh. Barnett was having such an effect playing the low striker role. It would be interesting to see if Siobhan Walsh can keep up with it. In the opposite direction, Shepard came on at this point for Marlon Martin, and it seemed to give them an extra spark in the middle of the park. I know it seemed to free up more of the wingers. O'Shea Smith also came in, and as for Arbine, who give them a different complexity on the left hand side, where Arbine would normally cut in on his right foot, Smith was now heading down to the byline to chip passes in on his left. Arnett was now in the full assailants at this point, as Portmore clearly tiring. Alex Marshall himself was getting very tired, as he struggled to hold on the ball and create like he did in the first half. So of course, naturally, Portmore, sticking to plan A still, is now sitting deeper and deeper, and he went from a mid-block to a low block as he camped in front of their 18-yard box to still try to clog up passing lanes and frustrate the front three of Arnett guns. Karim Dixon himself was still trying, and at one point it seemed like he was over-trying and doing too much, and he was clearly getting frustrated. Reid himself also got a glorious chance after this. Again, Smith got past his man on the byline, chipped a ball all the way into the ATM box where he found an unmarked Fabian Reed, who for some odd reason did not decide to head of the ball, but decided to take it down on his chest and gave Williams a chance to come out, smother him shot, and his goal for a corner. A big opportunity missed there for Fabian Reed, and people were probably wondering if that would be the last glorious chance. No, the damn finally broke, where a shot from outside the box deflected out to the left hand wing, and Smith, who on fresh legs, run it down, and Portmore defenders, who are very tired at this point, could not come out to meet him fast enough, saw the ball play back inside the box again, and this time Fabian Reed was on hand on the penalty box to coolly slot it home to get him the just deserved equalizer at this point. The goal was coming, and I must say at this point I felt Philip Williams took too long with his substitutes, as he cleared that Portmore were clear on tired legs at this point. Marshall himself tried to rally his team, tried to get on the ball to do his work and create, but he was on dead legs at this point, and he was now turning over the ball in his own half. It led to more and more attacks from Arnett in the opposite direction, and they came close once more to try and get the go-ahead goal, but it didn't come to fruition. Very lucky for Portmore in the end, as they hang on for dear life and eventually saw out the game to a 1-1 draw. Anyway, let's look at the stats for this one, people. So yeah, so Arnett had 19 total shots, and I guarantee you at least 16 of those came in the second half. Portmore only had 11 shots in return. Arnett also had 8 shots on target, as they was trying their best to not only get the equalizer with the go-ahead goal, while Portmore did well with their plan A and only had 4 shots on target. 14 corners to Arnett compared to 4 from Portmore, as Arnett dominance in the second half was shining through, and only 1 yellow card that went to Portmore in the game. So yeah, basically, if you watch their last match up in the jungle, where it was a 1-1 draw back in March, it was a carbon copy here. Portmore started the first half much better, as their plan to frustrate Arnett was working to a charm, but they tired in the second half, and Arnett, with all their attacking prowess, eventually broke the dam and got through. 1-1 it ended, and a very good entertaining game. And yeah, it was it for the first night, Monday night, of playoff action. It was an entertaining game despite no clear winners, but now it sets up nicely for leg 2, as it all to play for by all 4 teams. It could have been boring if any of these teams were already out before the second leg, so it's good to see the games being close, which I predict it would be. But what I didn't expect is just a clear tactical battle between all 4 managers, and they're really showing their tactical prowess at work. It was a great spectacle for tactics, but not necessarily skill, and there were some sloppy plays in the defense and attack from both matches, but a great game nonetheless. To also play for in leg 2. But anyway, that's all I got here at JPL Fun for this review show of leg 1. But before I go, I must say, once again, I must give a big shout out and thanks again to Alex and all his team members at 876 Stream for inviting me to analyze and preview the games. It was a humbling experience, and I thank them dearly. I also got a great chance to see how they work behind the scenes to give us great coverage on our favorite league. So again, I must applaud them for their hard work. Otherwise, I'm also give you guys thanks for watching and liking and sharing, because without you guys, I wouldn't even get this opportunity either. So again, massive thanks to all my followers. But anyway, guys, that's it. We'll be back for preview leg 2, of course, on Friday. So for anything else on the Jamaican Premier League, you're already at the right place. JPL Fun. YouTube, big up on yourself.